What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. This story comes with a trigger warning. The lawsuit came with a trigger warning, and so I want to, you know, offer that as well to protect my viewers' mental health. So if this story triggers you, please feel free to, move on, watch another one of my videos, or not watch it. But Cassie is suing P. Diddy for $30 million from their past relationship that they were in for a decade, around 10 years. The New York Times broke this story, and I thought that that was significant in and of itself, right? Because the New York Times, it gives credibility to what she's saying and everything that happened. So I'm going to read that, and I'll link it in the description as well if you guys want to read it separately. But it says this: Sean Combs is accused by Cassie of R. There's certain words that I can't say on YouTube, and years of abuse in this lawsuit. In the suit, the singer says that Mr. Combs, known as Puff Daddy or Diddy, subjected her to a pattern of control and abuse over a decade, and Mr. Combs vehemently denies the allegations. So Sean Combs, the producer and music mogul, who has been one of the most famous names in hip hop for decades, was sued in federal court on Thursday by Cassie, an R&B singer once signed to his label, who accused Mr. Combs of R and repeated physical abuse over about a decade. In the suit filed in Federal District Court, Manhattan, Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, who had been Mr. Combs' romantic partner, says that not long after she met him in 2005, when she was only 19, he began a pattern of control and abuse that include plying her with illegal substances, beating her, and forcing her to have intimate relations with a succession of male um, workers of the night. I'm trying to, abide by YouTube guidelines while he filmed the encounters. In 2018, the suit says that near the end of their relationship, Mr. Combs forced his way into her home and R'd her. After years in silence and darkness, Miss Ventura said in a statement, "I'm finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships." In response, a lawyer for Mr. Combs said that Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Miss Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship. Ooh, okay. Listen, if Cassie writes a book, y'all, I'm gonna get it. I'm reading this article, but I want to read it because I believe every word. Which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Well, she could write the book, right? This is the U.S. freedom of speech. We still have it, knock on wood, but she can absolutely tell her story. I'm here for it. Despite withdrawing her initial threat, Ms. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday. Now, I know that his lawyer is doing his job, but on a side note, I knew that Diddy was a bully from the time that he hazed. Remember, y'all? I don't know if y'all remember Making the Band, but when he had them walk, okay, to get that cheesecake at Junior's, and it was in a whole nother borough. They were in Manhattan, and I think Junior's was like in Brooklyn or something like that. And he didn't let them take the train, not a taxi. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like the cruelty is the point. You know what I mean? Like it was a power play. And I think it was cold too, because New York gets real cold. I think it was like in February or something crazy. Like, first of all, I don't deal well with bullies. I don't deal well with people who are in positions of power and authority and abuse. You know what I mean? People who are their subordinates, or they punch down. So I believe every word. That's why I said if she writes a book, and I hope that she does, and I hope that she gets to 30 million, but I'm definitely gonna buy it. But I know he was trash from the time that he made them walk to juniors. Like, you're putting them through this torture for what? For a piece of cheesecake? Stop. Okay, let's continue with the article. Douglas Wigdor, a lawyer for Ms. Ventura, said that the parties had spoken before the suit was filed. Mr. Combs offered Ms. Ventura 8 figures to silence her and prevent her from filing this lawsuit. She rejected his efforts. Good, good, Cassie. I'm glad that after a decade, she's actually telling her story. Good, good for her. Ms. Ventura's case is the latest in a series of SA civil suits recently um, filed against prominent men in the music industry. That's so true, including Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Steven Tyler, you're too old. Is he not like 80? Hold on. Okay, I just looked up his age. He's 75, so I was 5 years off. 75, and you're still SAing people? I need you to have several. See, I'm so tired of these men abusing their positions of power. The executive L.A. Reid, Neil Portnow, the former head of the organization behind the Grammy Awards. Wow. Mr. Portnow has denied the accusation, and Mr. Tyler and Mr. Reid have not responded. Wow. That's ridiculous. Okay. People don't just come and just blatantly accuse especially powerful men of things that they don't do. So I'm always I tend to believe the victims and people who come forward, because that's an act of courage in and of itself. You know that your life is going to be turned upside down to even come forward. But and it's not always true, but more times than not, it is. Mr. Combs, 54, founded Bad Boy in 1993 and became one of the primary figures in the in hip hop, working with stars like Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, and he did them wrong too. With Mary J., like, she's talked about that as well. His net worth has been estimated as high as $1 billion. Okay, well, if you're a billionaire, then you need to break her off her 30 million. Last year, Forbes calculated Mr. Combs' annual earnings at 90 million. Okay, well then, yeah, 30 million is a drop in the bucket. Go ahead and cut the check, Diddy. Attributing the amount largely to his former partnership in his liquor brand, Ciroc. Mr. Combs, who in his career has been known as Puff Daddy, Diddy, and Love. Nobody's calling this man Love because there's nothing loving about him, in my opinion. And I grew up, in the '90s, listening to Bad Boy, and yeah, there was nothing loving about him. But that's just my own opinion. He may be the most famous music executive of his generation. Okay. But the suit depicts Mr. Combs as a violent person, I believe that, who repeatedly assaulted Miss Ventura, asking her to carry a pow pow in her purse. And the suit suggests that he was responsible for blowing up the car of a rival suitor. Yeah, Kid Cudi. I'll make a separate video about that. In one incident, the suit says that Mr. Combs dangled a friend of Miss Ventura's over a 17th-floor hotel balcony. What is loving about that, Sean? Who? And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw Audrey O'Day. Um, she she said that he gave them their recording rights back, but only if they would refuse to, or they had to sign NDAs, but she refused, and she was in a group chat telling her other members not to sign it. But she said, it's the publishing rights aren't really worth a whole lot now. But she also said that it was not only protecting him and Bad Boy, but they couldn't talk about his mom, Janice Combs, his son, Justin Combs. But I'm like, Janice, you raised a monster. This man is trash. I mean, you can change your name, and he has, so many times. Like I said, from when I was a kid, I remember, it went from Puff Daddy to Puffy to Diddy and P Diddy, and now Love. Nobody is calling you Love, okay? If everything that you do, from making the band walk to juniors for cheesecake to abusing, Cassie, to just, there's so many allegations, trying to make people sign NDAs to protect your family. It's like, no, people are going to speak their truth. And I'm really glad that the Cassie is doing that. She's speaking her truth. So I'll link the article if you guys want to read it in full from the New York Times. But I'm glad that, you know, everything is being exposed. Listen, I guess, 2023 is the year of transparency, because folks are airing it all out. Okay. But anyway, I want to hear from you guys. Drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already. And I will talk to you later. Take care, Aces. Bye.